session with me. They call me BigMa or the fire starter, but in this classroom, I am known as Soul High Priest because I am a high priestess, but I also care about your soul. I started my live classes yesterday, and the feedback has been great so far. And I hope that as we continue this journey of, you know, getting to better ourselves and become better human beings, understanding our purpose and also, our spiritual journey. I hope that, we continue to share the light, the love, the energy, the kindness, and what have you. So, as you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about healing and therapy. Um, Now, I must put this disclaimer. I'm not saying therapy is bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to therapy. You should go to therapy if you need therapy. Therapy is more of like a base, but it's not like the solution. It's not going to get you healing. And you're wondering, how do you know this? Are you a therapist? What do you mean? I'm not a therapist. I'm a healer. And I would explain what that means. Because a lot of people, when you hear healer, you think maybe I'm one of those people that will shaka shaka on you and, pray or whatnot. No, 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 no. A healer is someone who first heals themselves by themselves, learning how to heal themselves so that they can also help others on their healing journey and guide them to know what they need to do or how to go about it. That's who I am. I'm a healer who is, you know, trying to stand in her purpose and help others heal. And that's why I started these classes. Now, a therapist is someone who helps you understand what your mental issues are, basically. And they ultimately just prescribe drugs at the end of the day that is just meant to help you manage whatever your mental, issue is. And I'm someone who is a strong believer in the fact that insanity is divinity. You can argue with your couch, I don't give a fuck. Insanity is divinity because when you think about it, anybody who has ever had like a mental breakdown or whatnot, that's always the beginning of a spiritual awakening. The difference is some people get stuck in the dark night of the soul and they can't move past that. And that's why they have the manic episodes and whatnot. And they're like, oh, you don't crazy, And then they have to take you to the hospital to get you checked out and whatnot. But that doesn't mean that there's actually really something wrong with you. You're just not understanding, that you're meant to start your healing journey. The minute you hit that place where, like, maybe you like clinical depression, in my case, that was what it was. I was clinically depressed and I landed in rehab because of that, because I was also suicidal. And I didn't understand why there was so much darkness I was dealing with. And while I was in rehab, I did do both individual and group therapy with these amazing doctors who actually know what they're doing, as therapists, as psychologists, as, they know what they're doing. But the truth is, they can't help you heal because that's not part of the job description. In fact, a lot of therapists will tell you they themselves have therapists. You understand what I'm saying? That's because therapy doesn't heal you. Therapy just tells you what's wrong with you. It's like they go to school and study every type of mental health issue, the symptoms, the signs, and then what drugs you can use to manage it. But there's no like way out. I remember when I was in rehab, because I've talked about this before. You could go check my old videos where I talked about it. And when I was in rehab, they told me I was clinically depressed because I had bipolar disorder. And something in me just didn't want to agree with that diagnosis because I'm like, why would my mind have more control over me? It's my mind. You understand? Why would he have control over me? I own that bitch. So how come my mind is the one telling me to, off myself? How come my mind is the one telling me to do stupid shit? No, 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 because that means I'm not, training. I'm not training it right. I'm not, what's the word? I'm not harnessing the fullness of who I am. And therapy can only just tell you this is your problem, but they're not going to tell you how to solve it. Last year, I had a chance to talk with a licensed therapist who opened up to me because he was trying to find out if I really was a healer, if I was just, selling a scam or something. And he couldn't help but confess that actually, you do know that therapy doesn't really help people. I'm like, I kind of noticed that because when I was in rehab, most of the work that I did on myself for me wasn't because of therapy. Yeah, therapy directed me and pointed out the things I needed to know. So that I knew that, okay, this was, I was dealing with clinical depression. Okay, what are my triggers? Okay, what are the things around me that are contributing to my issues and whatnot? That is what, therapy does for you. It just points out the issues that you have. It points out what you need to know about that your mental state, but it doesn't help you solve it. It doesn't give you the solution to it. They put you on meds though. They give you antidepressants. They give you mood stabilizers and whatnot. These things do not really help. In fact, they don't help at all. If I'm being honest, they just keep you numb so you don't feel. And we've been put on this earth as human beings to be able to express ourselves, to be able to feel. Because the whole idea of love, loving yourself, loving others, loving the world around you, is to be able to express that love in our own individual ways. It's not like everybody else is going to, express love in the same way. No, we're all, see, it's just like your fingers. Everybody has this like print on your fingers, but no two people have the same fingerprints. It's the same way we express. But when the world is telling you that you cannot express yourself as you are, authentically to you, because there's something wrong with you, that is when shit starts to mess with your head. Some of us, especially the neurospicy community, if you're on any spectrum of autism, you're neurodivergent, you realize that you're very prone to depression, you're very prone to anxiety, you know, you become more closeted. You don't want to go out. You don't want to be around people. You don't have people tell you, oh, you're too direct. Oh, you're too this. Oh, why don't you do this? And because you're forced into this box to be normal, it starts to affect your mental. Go check it out. I can tell you that majority of the people that are suffering from mental health issues are people that are not allowed to be themselves. And because they are fighting who they really are, they go into this deep, dark place, and then it becomes really, really bad and it messes with your head. It's not in all cases, though. In some cases, it can be you being in toxic families, toxic relationships, toxic environments that mess with your head. And because society has made it seem normal, like here in Nigeria, being narcissistic is normal. It's seen as normal. There's not like when you tell people that no, that's wrong, no, this person shouldn't be that way, they look at you like you're crazy. Because it's like that's the way it's always been. Most Nigerian people were raised by narcissistic mothers who continue the trend, and they keep, recycling that. And when you point it out to people, they don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to be, how I say, see their mother or their sister or their brother or their father or their, uncle as narcissists. But the truth is, I've said it so many times, out of every 10 Nigerians, there's at least five narcissists. At least, could be more, because it's everywhere around you. Some are actually, they actually have narcissistic disorder, and some are just narcissistic behavior wise. It's not as if, and those that are just narcissistic behavior wise can actually work on themselves if they allow themselves take accountability of their behaviors. Now, unfortunately, there are people that have been dealt with by these people, and then it affects them as they grow up mentally. And most times they don't speak out, because in Nigeria they look at you like, what's mental health? What do you, God bless you, God, Jare, you're healed in Jesus' name. There is no chance to express how you're feeling and understand exactly what's wrong with you so you can deal with it. That is why you have someone like me being able to come here to tell you that you can actually heal. You can heal from that broken heart. You can heal from depression. You can heal from narcissistic abuse. You can heal from whatever it is you've been through that has affected your mental. Do not let the world lie to you and make you feel like your problem is permanent. And I remember when they told me in rehab, when they gave me meds, and I had to ask, the doctor, I'm like, so when do I get off this meds? I'm like, oh, you're going to be on it all your life. I stopped using the meds since 2022, April 2022. And if anything, my life has been way better since, even before I went to rehab, before I started using those meds, because I found that therapy doesn't heal. Therapy just, it's like practical. It's like you want to learn how to swim, and then you go on YouTube, you come on here and you watch videos of people swimming, and then you tell us, I can't remember which sitcom that was. Was it Big Bang Theory? I can't remember. And then it was like, oh, I definitely know how to swim because I've watched it, I've seen the techniques, I know exactly what to do. But then they throw you in water and you're just like flailing all over, and you're like drowning. That's because that's what therapy is. It just gives you the theory of it, of how, what your problem is. It doesn't give you the solutions. It doesn't tell you how to heal. And the reason they healers do what they do most of the time for free, because it's a calling, it's a purpose, it is who you are. But therapists go to school to learn that shit and they come out, they charge you per the hour to listen to you. It's not like they're really interested or invested. Most of them don't even have empathy. It's more like a job. I have been around enough therapists and people who talk about helping mental health to realize that they don't really give a shit. I used to be friends with someone who, till date, still runs this non-profit mental health organization. He used to organize therapy sessions for even men here in Lagos and whatnot. But this is one of the most toxic, worst human beings I've ever met in my life. This is someone that would take your business and use it against you. This is someone that literally goes out of his way to how do I put it, to get people who are mentally afflicted, mess with them, because he also dabbles in dark spirituality, says that, okay, this person's path might be something I can steal their energy from. And this is someone who is a champion. Like, people know him as, oh, he's all about mental health because, he also has been through it. I knew this person for over 10 years. This was someone I was always with. And I always wondered why he never really was helping anyone. Because he knows that therapy doesn't help. Therapy just gives you your prescription. Oh, this was wrong with you. All right. It's not left to you to either go find help or, you know, not. But they don't really care. They just give you just enough to keep you coming back. They're literally just like your sounding board. You just, most of the time, that's why they ask you, so how does it make you feel? They don't give you, solutions. They are not allowed to give you solutions, but they just want you to keep coming back and paying them so much money. You keep wondering, why have I been going to therapy for 5 years and nothing really has changed? That's because they're not trying to really help you. They know that if they give you the solutions, you stop coming. They're not trying to see you go do it off on your own. That is why God has put healers like me on earth, so that we can actually give you this help. Now, I don't need you to keep coming back to me all the time, because if anything I've learned on my journey is the fact that people will keep coming back and just want to keep telling you and regurgitating the same story over and over again are people that do not want to heal. They just want to be the victim. They just want to play the victim. They just want to, keep going over woe is me, sorrows, sorrows, tears, tears. No matter what you tell them to do, give them things to practically exercise, tell them to do this, do that. They're not going to do it because they're not trying to get solution. Those kind of people, those are the kind of people that should go to therapists, because that's a gold mine right there. In fact, they will tell you book a session for 3 times a week, and you think you'll be booking a session. Your salary and all the money you're earning is going to a therapist who probably has a lovely beach house at the Bahamas or whatnot, or has a private jet, or is a garage full of cars, and you are there. Your mental is still fucked up. So let me liberate you. Let me help you. Let me show you the path to freedom when it comes to your mental health. And you're wondering, so how do I, get healed if therapy isn't working, the meds aren't working? It's a simple solution. I said simple because, well, it's simple if you really want to heal. It's called shadow work. Now, what is shadow work? When you hear shadow work, you're thinking maybe some dark ritualistic thing. No. Shadow work is that inner work you have to do for yourself. Shadow work is you taking a look. Now, maybe you've gone to therapy, they've told you, oh, you're clinically depressed. And if you understand depression, you know that it comes from lack of expression. Now, shadow work is where you go into yourself and you go, what is it that I am not expressing that is making me depressed? I remember when I was in rehab and they made it clear to me that I was clinically depressed. I always had like a journal, a book with me where I could journal and try to assess my thoughts and whatnot. I remember thinking, okay, so what is making me depressed? Why am I feeling this way? And I started to jot down things I know that you know decisions I had made along my life that I thought I needed to make because it was expected of me. And I started to ask myself, does this decision give me joy or does it give me anxiety? It was in doing that shadow work I realized that I had been lying to myself for years that I wanted kids because that's what is expected. You're a woman, you have a womb, you're meant to be a kid. Right? Wrong. When I started to make that list, I realized I don't want kids. In fact, thinking about having kids makes me anxious, gives me anxiety. Like, I do not want to feel that way. So, what's the solution? Not having kids. Am I at peace with that solution? Yes. And I remember I spoke to my mom and I'm like, yo, I know that you're expecting, grandkids and whatnot. Luckily, I have other siblings, so you have, you can get that from them. But for me, I do not want kids. This was in yes, I do not want kids. I actually I'm not built that way. I was never one of those girls when I was really young where I have baby names in my head or how many kids. I just used to regurgitate what people would say. Oh, you want three kids? Okay, I want three kids. Oh, you want two boys and a girl? I never wanted, but because I believed so much that it was something I was meant to do, it added to what made me depressed because now I'm like getting anxious, like, oh shit, so I'm actually gonna have kids. I'm gonna have to raise another human being. Nah, this this might look like little things that are insignificant, but trust me, over time they build up and then they become depressive thoughts. Other things I had to deal with is okay, what started the depression? I had to go back in time and ask myself, deep questions. And I realized that it started from when someone, kind of rejected me, basically. And this was someone I believed I was in love with. But because hard girl, I can't show emotion because it was something I felt, I had to do to protect myself, not to show emotions. And because I wasn't expressing who I really am, which is love, the depression started. Just because someone rejected me and I was like, man, on to the next, fuck you, that kind of thing. I didn't want to deal with that emotion. I didn't want to deal with how I was feeling. It started to pile up. And that's how I got to 2020 and I was clinically depressed and I was hospitalized to get better. Now, while in rehab, I actually stopped going for group therapy and one-on-one therapy as soon as I started working on myself. And that's the shadow work. I started to ask myself those questions that I know that are very scary to answer, but to get through hell, you literally have to go through it. You can't be in hell and you're still standing there. You're just going to burn. You have to keep moving. Because trust me, there is a light at the end of that tunnel. There is hope. There is healing once you can walk through your darkness. Another part of shadow work is understanding that you're neither good nor bad. The world tries to make you feel like if you do certain things, you're a bad person. Or you drink, or you smoke, or you like sex, or whatever it is that you feel like it's your guilty pleasure, but people judge you for because it's not what they will do or what religious, beliefs say you should do. So you now decide to hide those parts of you. I know people, especially men, I always tell them when they do this, they'll be in a relationship with someone, and there are people that like to smoke but maybe the person they're with is like, oh, I can't be with a smoker. Then they start to lie and they suppress that part of themselves. And, over time, it becomes a thing where you're hiding to smoke. You have to do the whole, spray your mouth, put some mint. I can't remember what movie was that. Okay, she's not that into you. There was literally a scene there where she told her husband like, oh, I don't like smokers. He lied that he had quit and whatnot. They were building this new house they were about to move into, even though their marriage was already rocky. And then she found a packet of cigarettes, and then she's asking the workers that are working in the house. And in fact, she fired the worker because she thought he was lying to her that he was the one smoking. And she really didn't like smokers because her father had passed from lung cancer or something like that. So she was really angry, like, how can you be smoking? Only for her to later find out that her husband, who was also cheating on her, had like full-on roll packet of cigarettes, hidden in the cupboard and whatnot. And then she lost her shit and she asked for a divorce. And in that kind of situation, that kind of guy, in fact, I think towards the end of the film, the person who was not cheating with guns have rejected him. Literally rejected him. And then he became desolate and depressed and whatnot. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. When you are lying to yourself, you know, not expressing who you are authentically, it starts to affect your mental. Because it's like nobody gets me, nobody understands me, everybody's trying to change me, everybody's trying to make me be this, be that. The truth is, you shouldn't give a fuck. You should be able to be your realest self. And to be able to get to that point, you have to do the shadow work. You have to integrate your light and your dark. If you look at the yin yang symbol, you would notice that in the one that has the full white, there's a spot of darkness, and in the one that has the full dark color, there's a spot of light there. That is who we all are. Everybody has the yin and yang. And to find that balance, you have to integrate your shadow. You have to understand that you're neither good nor bad. You can be good, you can be bad. You decide who you want to be. The world doesn't tell you who you need to be. And shadow work is the only way for you to know who that person is. A tool that can help you with shadow work is to journal. Any form of journaling you can do, either audio recording it, either you're writing it down, either even video recording. Journal yourself, journal these things, understand, put the points down, try to figure out, who am I, why am I fighting with my darkness, my demons? A lot of people, when you hear demons, they're like, see, own your demons. Don't let them own you. I'm going to let you into something I like to tell my friends. As far as I'm concerned, my demons, I call them Medusa. That's my dark side. Now, for a long time, I could never harness that side because, I was brought up with a religious background. So I believed that any form of darkness in you was wrong. That's a lie. Everybody has darkness in them. Do not forget, we're created by God. And if we're created like Him, by Him, that means we have both. It's the same God that wiped the entire world with a flood. It's the same one that also sent us Jesus Christ. Do you understand? There's light and dark. What you have to do is be able to, align them in a balanced way that you understand that your darkness doesn't rule you. It's the same way you understand your mind doesn't rule you. You own that bitch. So you have to befriend your demons, understand them, know them by name. You know why? Because you can use them. There are some times you need to call on those demons to help you in certain situations, especially if you're someone that are like a people pleaser. If you notice, if you're a people pleaser and you do too much for people all the time, and you neglect yourself so much, it gets to the point where you're burnt out, there's nothing left in you, you start to lash out. You actually start to lash out. You actually start to, get dark. And then sometimes you go overboard, and then you start feeling guilty for going overboard, and you feel so bad. That's because you haven't integrated your dark side. You haven't integrated your shadows. You have to integrate your shadows. Understand your demons, know them by name. Understand that, okay. And when you actually do that, that's where setting boundaries comes in, because you're like, okay, this person thinks I'm a fool and is trying to like use me. Here's my boundary. That's when you call on that one. And if the person isn't listening to you, that's when you show that dark side. That, yo, I want you. Stay the fuck away from me. That doesn't make you a bad person. You're just doing what you need to do in that minute for yourself, because it helps you. It's going to save you in the long run. Shadow work is the one thing that can help you on your healing journey, because one thing about healing is it never really stops. There's so many things, especially as adults, that you've gone through from your childhood that you have to process, and you have to keep going back, little by little, going through, those dark thoughts, those feelings of hurt, the things that hurt your inner child. You remember the times when they told you to shut up, you talk too much, or the times they told you that you are too stubborn, or the times they made you feel less than even as a child, and it shut you off and it formed you into this person that doesn't give a fuck anymore. But you do give a fuck, but you act like you don't give a fuck, but you really give a fuck. Those are the things you need to work on. Those are the things you need to heal. Your shadow is never going to disappear. It's only going to come out in worse ways. That is why you see some people, or most people that actually decide to end themselves, is because they couldn't integrate that shadow, and it enveloped them. And this is me, someone who has been close to the edge a couple of times. I could tell you for a fact it's because I didn't integrate my shadows. I didn't understand the darkness that was overcoming me. Now, before I even, because it's not like these things would disappear. No, no, no. But you learn how to manage them very well. You learn how to integrate them with who you are becoming, who you are in the moment. And before you know it, in good time, you're at this level of peace. You start to realize that things that used to trigger you don't trigger you anymore. That's another area shadow work helps you. A lot of people get triggered by the slightest things. I see this happen all the time because there are a lot of people that are suppressing insecurities because the world is, especially men. Men really need to work on their shadows. They because the world has told them you're a man, you shouldn't feel your emotions, you shouldn't, and then they say stupid, silly shit like don't you know that when you're acting that way, you're acting like a woman. I'm sorry, but women actually are the most powerful beings on this earth. And until you men start to understand that you should learn from us to better yourself as opposed to fight us and make us feel like we are less than because you feel intimidated and powerless around us, you are never going to be better. Women are not trying to be you. But have you noticed that a lot of men try to be women? If I right now, I know I'm digressing, but right now men are acting like passenger princesses. They've forgotten that back in the day men used to hunt. All right, back to class, back to class. Don't let me go away. I'm sorry, I just had to go that way. But what I'm trying to say, a lot of men do not do this. They don't even understand what shadow work is. They don't even want to think about it. They don't even want to go into that dark place because they think that if they go there, it would end them. No. Understand what is giving you that darkness. Understand why you feel the way you do. There are a lot of men I know that make me so proud every day because you see them doing the healing work. You see how they've evolved. You see how they're standing in their authenticity and not giving a fuck what anybody thinks or says about them because they've done the inner work. They're healing. They're healing their inner child. They're integrating, their light and their dark. And they've also ascended into their higher selves. They understand that love cannot exist in the same place as fear. The fear of, oh, what am I going to eat tomorrow? The fear of, oh, how am I going to pay these bills? That's the reason why a lot of things are not moving forward for a lot of people because they are stuck in that. I think the next class I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about, lack mindset because that's also something, that's a shadow aspect that you need to understand in yourself. If you think that this healing journey is something you want to get on, you're tired of feeling the way you feel, you're tired of wasting money going for therapy without any solution, all you do is pop pills and it's not like it's doing anything for you, then start doing your shadow work. There are so many videos. See, this app has so much knowledge, so much knowledge. All you have to do is look for it. Like right here, right now, watching this is part of what I'm talking about. And it's free of charge, fucking free. All you have to do is integrate what you're learning, write it down, practice it, make it become a lifestyle, become part of who you are. It's not about, oh, you listen to it today, like, oh, okay, shadow work, and then you carry on. No, no, no. This is a practice, something you have to practice. This is something you have to do for yourself if you really want to heal. If you knew me in 2019, you will understand what I'm talking about. I was messy. I was a mess. It was so bad, it affected even my skin, my body. I was dark. I was so deep in that shadow that I didn't understand what was happening to me. I remember my last day leaving rehab, one of the nurses there, because I'd befriended a lot of nurses before I left. Some of them are still in my life still now. One of the nurses was like, "Do you remember how you looked when you came in here? You were so dark, so angry." And I was just laughing because I did remember, and I didn't know who that was because I did healed to the point where, you know, I was more confident in myself that, okay, going forward, I can continue this healing journey because I have already developed the tools I need. And when I got out of rehab, because while I was in there, I didn't have access to my phone, to the internet and whatnot. So most of the things I was doing was based off intuition and just because in there I got closer to God. So it was more, and I always get like messages from Him all the time through everything. So in there, that was all I could do. But as soon as I got out and I got access to my phone again, I came back on YouTube. I started searching to understand myself better, to know who I am. That's how I discovered, oh, I'm an empath. Okay, that is why I absorb all this energy so much. That is why most of these things affect me. Oh, okay. Then I started watching more videos and I came across a video talking about shadow work and I went deep dive into it. What is shadow work? I really wanted to understand how to practice it in my day-to-day life. And I'm glad I did because it really helped me. Now, looking back at 2020 to who I am today in 2025, I don't know who that bitch was. She dead and gone. I've healed so much childhood trauma. I've healed so much young adulthood trauma. I have healed to the point where I know who I am. I stand in my authenticity. I can tell you, yo, this is who I am. You can't tell me who I am. You cannot try to sell this light to me anymore because I am both light, but I can also bring the darkness. I respect the darkness because everybody has it. I will not push it away and quieten it down and make it feel like there's something wrong with me. No, no, no. Because do not forget, God made us perfectly. He made us in His image. If I'm made in God's image, what makes me think that there's something wrong with me? Some of the I say this sometimes to my parents because they look at me like I'm weird, and I go like, sometimes I respect, people who are outwardly evil in the sense that they don't pretend this is who they are. Oh, I am evil, I am evil, I own it. It's like the Joker is one of the villains that I respect the most. But here's the thing, he had love. Harley Quinn, hello. Just because you have love does not mean you're going to be all goody two shoes. No, it just means that you're authentically you. Now, that does not mean that karma is slipping and oh, you can do bad things and nothing will happen to you. No, no, no. At the end of the day, that could be your life purpose in this, this time. Maybe you came at this period to be a bad person or to be bad to society so that it can be a cautionary tale or something. Best believe you're still going to pay back that karma by reincarnating at some other point or whatever, to go through the same things that you probably put people through so that you can heal that. And then that's literally when you understand who you are, your purpose. The live I did yesterday, you can go use those tools to help you understand better who you are, and then come into shadow work and use that to understand why you are battling your shadows and why you have so much darkness around you. Trust me when I say, when you really take heed of all this, when you practice this in your daily life, you would see yourself, you see the difference. You would literally see your confidence go from like 0 to like 110. You would see yourself being more in your purpose, in your power. You would understand, more about setting boundaries. You'll be able to see those that are around you if they're meant to be in your life. You'll be able to see if you're doing what you're meant to do at this time, and you'll be able to respect your journey more. A lot of people talk about having regrets and whatnot. You should not have regrets in any decision or anything you've ever done, because everything you did, you were meant to. You were meant to. Your life was already written out before you came to this earth. But the problem is we try to become God when we don't even know who He is, one, or know who we are. When you understand who you are and you understand who God is, you stop fighting, your journey. You stop going like, oh, why did I do this? Oh, why did I? No, no, no. It will be more like, what did I learn from what I did? And when you look back at the things you did and realize that, oh, okay, I did this so that I could learn this. And now that I know this, how can I move forward and be better for myself? How can I move forward and be more authentic, be more real, be more me? That is what healing is. Healing is understanding who you are fully, accepting your wholeness. I heard a quote from Bashar yesterday that I really loved. It was because a lot of people, one thing they struggle with is forgiving people, forgiving even themselves. And he said that when you forgive, it's you, finding freedom, because that is you forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to have those negative experiences. A lot of people go through toxic situations and whatnot, and they find it hard to forgive the people that did those things to them. That's because you're refusing to accept that is what it is. Literally, it is what it is. Those words might seem so simple, it is, but that's what it is. It is what it is. You were meant to go through that experience so you can understand more about who you are, so you can understand how to stand more in your power, how to become a better person. It's not about, you going through it so you can suffer and be in pain. No, no, no. Feel your feelings. Feel, respect your feelings. Do not feel like you have to suppress. Feel your feelings. Are you sad? Feel it. Honor it. Respect it. Look at it. If you need to cry, see, crying is so relieving. Like, I do not believe in the whole, oh, why are you crying? Especially when men say, oh, men should not cry. Cry. Trust me, you are releasing a lot. God did not give you tear ducts for fun. They are not. There are some people that literally need medical assistance to be able to have their tear ducts working. Yours work for free. Fucking cry. I'm not saying that you have to cry in front of a camera or cry in front. Cry when you need to. It's like you exhuming all that pain, all that upset, all that anger, and then when you're done, there's this air of relief that just kind of washes over you. You're like, I feel I feel better. Now you can see clearly. Have you ever noticed if you ever cried? Have you ever noticed that when you finish crying, your vision is like, it's like you just washed your eyes. You can see clearly. It's the same. The fog is lifted after you cry. Feel your feelings, respect your feelings, give them audience, hear what they're trying to tell you, hear what you need to know. That is healing. Healing is being able to do all you need to get to where you want to go. Forget everything they told you in religion, forget everything society told you. Listen to you, your higher self, your inner child. Listen, trust me. He's speaking, she's speaking. Stop ignoring that voice. That voice is what's going to keep guiding you on your healing journey. Anyways, this has been a fun, interesting class. I do hope that you've learned a thing or two. You can always come back to watch this video, and do subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be hosting more live sessions where I'll be, you know, giving you more information that God has put in me, and the Holy Spirit uses me to be able to share to you because I want the world to heal. I want the world to be able to understand that love is not just meant for movies or for married couples. No, loving yourself is owning who you are wholly, entirely. And being open to love is what starts your healing journey. And as I usually do at the end of each class, I would love to give us three affirmations that we can practice daily. We can say it to ourselves under our breath, we can say it looking into the mirror or into our water before we drink it. Affirmations are very powerful. I've been doing this now for over 2 years, and it's really helped shape and reprogram my mind, because when you do daily affirmations, it helps you to reprogram your mind. It helps you to integrate yourself better and become your most authentic self. So the three affirmations for today are: the first one says, my journey is sacred and I walk it with confidence. My journey is sacred and I walk it with confidence. The second one says, I am enough just as I am and I honor my becoming. I am enough just as I am, and I honor my becoming. And the last one says, my energy is aligned with peace, purpose, and divine flow. My energy is aligned with peace, purpose, and divine flow. Make sure you write this down somewhere, repeat it as often as you need to till you start to believe it. Make this something that becomes, a daily practice for you, and watch your mind, watch your life start to change for the better. Anyways, I've had such a good time having this talk with you guys. Thank you for joining me. And for those of you that will watch this later, thank you also for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and also share. There might be someone else that is going through a healing journey and just needs some direction and just needs some insights as to what to do. Please share this video with them. And you can also go watch my old videos where I'm talking about my life experiences. There's a lot of tea. See, the tea that I've been spilling, especially since the beginning of this year. You want to watch some of those videos so you get an insight into my journey and what has led me onto where I am today. It's been nice hanging out with you. Do not forget to always be kind, always stay in an attitude of gratitude. I love you, but God loves you more. Have a lovely rest of your day.